What's going on, guys? Welcome back to BlackTideTV, bringing you the best of all things gaming Monday to Friday. Hold on, is this a Battlefield? Oh my god, I finally did the Battlefield video. So today we're talking about our Battlefield 1 wish list, what we want to see in Battlefield 1 when it comes out this October. Of course, you're seeing Battlefield 4 gameplay here. This is amazing that I finally managed to get this done. It's not the best gameplay in the world, mind you. I mean, guys, if you've been around the channel for like the last week or 2 weeks, I've been complaining about trying to get this freaking gameplay for the entire time. I have not been having good luck with Battlefield recently, so it's not the best gameplay, but we've got some support gameplay with the MG4 on Lankang Dam, I want to say. I don't know. And I'm probably going to overtalk this gameplay, so I actually have a second gameplay already queued up in this video of Zavod, I believe it's on Zavod. Both games are a team deathmatch, and we're playing 64v64 lobby, but there was never 64 people in the lobby at any time. I think it only went up to like 20 or 30 people. Anyways, that is the gameplay that you're going to be seeing today, but we're talking about Battlefield 1. That's what we want to talk about, because Battlefield 4, as much as it is a great game, it's very dated, and we're waiting for our Battlefield 1 to come out. It's confusing that it's called Battlefield 1. I don't know why they didn't just call it Battlefield 5, but to each his own. The Battlefield 1 that I want to see is going to be a little bit more Call of Duty-like. Everybody's saying that this is the year that Battlefield takes over Call of Duty, but Battlefield has to actually cooperate with Call of Duty players. We can't just, if they bring out a strictly Battlefield game again, it's going to kind of screw with the Battlefields taking over Call of Duty, because a lot of Call of Duty players will play the Battlefield game and they'll be very confused. They'll be playing it and it's going to be a big, huge change to go from Call of Duty to Battlefield for a lot of players. It's different if you played a little bit of both the entire time, but if you're just completely switching over to Battlefield all of a sudden, it's going to be really hard for a lot of players. So I'm thinking that if EA wants to do something right, if DICE wants to do something right with their Battlefield 1 game, they've got to make it a little bit more Call of Duty. So if I suggest some things that piss off some of the Battlefield guys out there, well, that's just something you got to live with. I do believe that a lot of different kind of things are going to be coming into the Battlefield games. Of course, we're still going to have vehicles and all that. All the Battlefield style is still going to be there, but I think that they need to add a lot of Call of Duty kind of things into the game to make the game more suitable for taking over the first-person shooter franchise and taking all the business from Call of Duty. So I've made a little bit of a list here. I've just got a bullet list of all the things that I thought of in like the last week or so when I've been playing this game. These things are just kind of popped into my head of all the things that I want to see in the game. Most of them are changes. Most of them are things that I don't like about the game right now and things that need to be changed to make it a little bit more Call of Duty, a little bit more Call of Duty friendly. But if you guys have any other things apart from my list, make sure you leave them in the comment section down below. While you're at it, hit the like button. But I'm going to get started on this list. It's in no particular order except for the very first one, which is just like the #1 thing that I need to see changed in this game. But everything after that is just going to be kind of random, and I'm just going to, I don't have jot notes or anything like this. I just have the bullet list, and I'm just going to shoot ideas off my brain. So first things first, we've got the simple self-sustaining menus. I want to see menu systems in this game that actually make sense. As much as Battlefield, like intense Battlefield players can say it, the menu system in Battlefield 4 is very, very, very flawed. It's very confusing. It's not straightforward. Like a Call of Duty menu, very straightforward. Like you got create a class, find a game, then that's about it. That's all you really see in Call of Duty menus. Is you find a game and then you pick a game mode and you go. Whereas in Battlefield, you've got all these servers, and I don't expect the servers to go away, but I expect them to simplify it a little bit. Make it a little bit more simple so that you can go through and you can look at your challenges and you can find your friends list and stuff. Take this battle log crap out of the game. I mean, I know that EA likes to put in all like EA is the big publisher of the game, right? EA likes to put in a lot of really ridiculous things into their game because they like to keep their games all connected, and they want to have like this big networky thing. It's like it doesn't need to be that fancy. Like just make the game stand alone. Make the menus in the game stand alone. Don't make us have to load up a battle log or go online to put an emblem on our friggin' whatever. Like just make it self-sustaining. Make it so we can just go on the menu system and figure our shit out from there. Make it super simple, super easy to read, like a Call of Duty menu. I find that the Battlefield menus are just so clustered and there's so much going on. but at the same time, there's nothing going on. Like, you can't find your challenges, and it's just confusing to use the Battlefield menus, and I would like them to really simplify the menus, make it really, really simple, especially finding servers and stuff. Like I said, I don't expect the servers to go away, but they could really simplify how you find your servers and stuff. Now, that would be the end of my number one thing that I want to see change. It's just the menu system. I mean, if they just change the menu system, I would be happy. I think the menus is the biggest problem in this game. I think it's just really confusing going from a very simple menu system in Call of Duty to going to this menu system in this game. I just find the menus to be very, very confusing in this game, and I just don't like them at all. But I guess that's also something that you can get used to in time, but I mean, it would make so much more sense if they just made them simple right off the bat. Next thing I have on my list is auto spotting when hit markers are earned on enemies. This is a big thing in this game that pisses me off a lot, in that you can spot enemies in Battlefield. If you guys are Call of Duty players, you don't really know. You can spot enemies in Battlefield. Basically, you just point at the guy, and a little red arrow appears above him, so any other people on your team can find that enemy, and he pops up on their little mini map and everything, which is cool. But it's like, if I start shooting at a guy, I can shoot at a guy and spot him at the same time, but that gets a little bit confusing. Why doesn't it auto spot when I shoot at somebody? If I hit somebody, if I get a hit marker, it should just auto spot him for me. It should just go, bam, he's right there. And then, because that's what would happen in real life too. If you started engaging enemies, if you were in the military and you started engaging enemies in real life, you're not just going to shoot at the guy and not say anything to your friggin' teammates or your friggin' other soldiers that are there with you. You're not just going to shoot at this guy and not say anything. You're going to be like, I'm engaging enemies at whatever. Like, you would say that and he would be spotted, and your squad or whatever would engage the enemy as well. So it just makes sense that auto spotting should be a thing. If I get a hit marker on an enemy, he should just be spotted like that. Done. I want to see less wasted space in the map development. There's a lot of big spots in a lot of the maps that have been really wasted in this game. There's a lot of really bland areas, a lot of areas that nobody ever goes to. You're not really seeing them in this gameplay just because this is a smaller version of a map. But when you're playing in Conquest and massive maps, it can be kind of ridiculous. Like, there's some spots on some of the maps that are just completely bland. Like, it's just some crappy office building with no furniture and all kinds of stuff, and there's just like nothing in there, and it just feels wasted. It's just like this big open space, nobody ever goes there. What's the point of having those areas when we can just kind of streamline those areas out? We can kind of cut out the spots that we know that no friendlies or no players are going to go in at all. Just cut them right out of the game and make the map just a little bit smaller. The maps are big already. They don't need to be massive just so you can have some crappy office building that nobody ever goes into. So just cut out the spots that you know that nobody's ever going to go in and make the maps a little bit more streamlined. I want to see smaller game zones for close quarters combat. Like I just said, this that you're seeing right now, or not right now I guess, but when you're seeing in a minute, we're going to go into Zavod. The maps themselves are still very large. Even when you play close quarters, which is just infantry combat, like team deathmatch or something, this is basically, there's no vehicles, there's nothing like that, but it's still huge. The maps are absolutely enormous, and it can take you forever to find enemies. You can run across the map and not find anybody for like 5 minutes, and that's a big problem in this game, in that, especially for these Call of Duty players coming over, Call of Duty players expect to engage enemies right away. They expect to be in the fight right away. Let's go, let's do this, and get it done. Whereas in Battlefield, it's like, not, like, you can run around, literally, for a half an hour and not see anybody. If you're playing a Conquest game and you kind of want to stick to the outside of the map, you don't want to go for the main Conquest objective, you can run around the map for a half an hour and not find anybody. That is the ridiculous size of this game. I mean, I like the big maps. I like having big maps. Even in Call of Duty, I really love the big maps. But we really got to, especially in the close quarters section, just cut the maps a little bit shorter. Like, when you play close quarters, it's like this map, Zavod, for example, is way bigger than this. This is just Domination Point or Conquest Point C, I believe, in the full massive size of the game. Oh no, I think it's actually B and D. But this is just 2 of the 5 Conquest points when you're playing in a full game of Conquest. I still think it's too big, though. I think they could cut it down a little bit more, make it a little bit more tight when you're playing in team deathmatch. I just like to see them cut down some of the maps. When you're in close quarters especially, just cut them down just a little tiny bit more than they already are cutting them down. Especially because you don't have vehicles to get to the enemy side, it takes a long time to run everywhere on foot. So, especially when you're just doing infantry-only combat, make the maps a little bit smaller. What else do we have here? We've got time limits on games and smaller score goals. That's my... the menu system is my #1 problem with Battlefield. My #2 problem with Battlefield is that the games take forever. Like, forever. Especially Conquest. Like, that will take you a half an hour to get through one game. And a lot of people do not have a half an hour to sit here for one game. That's ridiculous. Like, some people only sit down to play games for like an hour. That could just be like 1.5 games on Battlefield. So, I'd like to see some time limits get put into this game. Instead of just having 60 minutes counting down from the beginning of the game to the end, how about we just do like either shorten that time limit or actually make the time limit like make it make sense, like really shorten it, like 20 minutes. Like make time limits based on what game mode you're playing, and smaller score goals. I know that's kind of like a server thing, and you can set your own score and do like 400% tickets or whatever, which I see a lot of people doing. But like, let's make the score goals on the official servers a little bit smaller, so that we're not playing like with 800 tickets or something ridiculous thing in Conquest, because that takes forever. Again, time limits, score limits. Let's just make this game a little bit shorter. I'm not saying completely make it into a Call of Duty 5-minute match thing. I'm talking about like 20 minutes max. Like that's a lot of time to be sitting in one map in one game. So it's just shorten the games a little bit, shorten the score limit and the time limit and all that fun stuff. Keep the weapon variety strong and selective to certain classes. So like your assault class, you can only use your assault rifles are only for assault class. LMGs are only for support class. I like that, but give us a few more cross-class weapons. In the DLC in Battlefield 4, we kind of got these cross-class weapons that kind of work. Like you can use a sniper rifle with your assault class. I'd like to see a few more of those weapons get around to other certain class selections. But yeah, keep the weapon variety strong. I love having tons and tons of weapons to choose from. I think that's a great selling point of the Battlefield game. I've actually talked about this in previous videos, previous Call of Duty videos, that Call of Duty needs to start introducing a lot more guns to their roster when they're making their games. I want to see at least some automatic weapons. I understand that it's a World War I game, but there's got to be some automatic weapons in there. We can't make it all bolt actions, or else it's going to be a very slow game. And on top of that, I'd like to see reduced health in core, just because, yeah, even if there are a few automatic weapons, it's mostly going to be like bolt actions, lever actions, like one-shot weapons. And those one-shot weapons are going to be a pain to get kills with if the health is really high. So let's just make it so like one-shot weapons, like give us like 2-shot kills with our bolt action rifles and all this stuff. Like make it easy to kill people. I find that a big problem in Battlefield 4 is it takes a long time to kill somebody sometimes. Like sometimes you'll just get melted, and sometimes you'll shoot a guy like 8 bullets and he won't die, and he'll just keep running, and it's kind of ridiculous. I'd like to see reduced HUD and minimap. I'd like to see less gadgets all over the screen and stuff, with a more realistic style. Like, we're going to World War I. Give us like a compass and a plain old like flat topographical map in the corner. I don't want to see like a updated continuously HUD and all this fancy shit. Like, no, they didn't have that fancy shit in World War I. Make it more realistic. Make it more like you're actually looking at a compass wheel, like spinning around on the side of your screen, so you know where your enemies are and stuff. Like, that would be really cool. On top of that, since we're talking about realism, I'd like to see some historically accurate battle zones. So even in the DLC, because DLC is usually where companies like this and Call of Duty and all that, they kind of get a little funky when they get to DLC and they start putting in like random weird shit. Like, don't do that. Make it more historically accurate. Give us some actual historically accurate battle zones, like actual battles that happen in World War I. I'd love to see some of the conflicts and kind of relive those conflicts in this game, or in Battlefield 1. I think that'd be really cool. One thing about vehicles, I don't have much to say about vehicles. I kind of don't really care. I'm not a big vehicle guy when it comes to Battlefield. Of course, I'm playing Team Deathmatch here, but even when I play Conquest, I like to play small Conquest, and I like to I jump in and out of vehicles. I mostly just use them for rides around the map, so I'm not a big vehicle guy. But when it comes to vehicles, there's only one thing that I want to see in Battlefield 1. Battlefield 1 is going to have less vehicles, of course, but they're going to still be implementing the aerial vehicles with the biplanes. And what I want to see with the biplanes is I want to see gunner positions. I want to see two-man biplanes where you've got one guy that can't shoot at all. He just flies around, and you've got the gunner on the back with the machine gun. I want to see that. That would be amazing. Get a good friend that can really pilot a plane and have him just fly around and get the assist score for flying the plane while the gunner on the back just sits there with the machine gun and have some awesome dogfights. I think that's going to be amazing. I think there should be gunner positions on biplanes so you can really work together, and flying a plane isn't just a one-man job anymore. I think that would be really cool. Just a few more here. We've got updated field upgrade score. I want to see something more along the lines of score streaks. That's where Call of Duty has a big edge against a lot of these other games, a lot of these first-person shooters, is that Call of Duty has score streaks, and nobody thinks to copy that. That is like the #1 thing about Call of Duty that changes it. Like the kill streaks, score streaks, whatever. That is the #1 thing that sets Call of Duty apart from Battlefield and from all these other first-person shooters, and nobody thinks to copy that. So I'd like to see the field upgrade score maybe do a little bit more than just letting you sprint faster or letting you do a little bit extra suppression damage or something like that. Like, make it so field upgrade score actually does something useful. I'd like to see faster gameplay. Battlefield 4 is a little bit slow on the movement and ADS speed kind of side. I know that they can't... I'm probably tainted from Call of Duty being advanced movement and jumping around and flying and all this stuff really fast. But I'd like to see a little bit faster gameplay from Battlefield. I mean, Battlefield 4, it kind of makes sense because you're wearing all this gear and you're probably weighed down and you're moving really slow. But I mean, we could speed it up a little bit. Maybe it's the engine that's just a little bit slow, but we could make movement speed a little bit faster. Let us get around the map a little bit quicker on foot. And lastly, while we're talking about speeds, respawn speeds need to be quicker. It takes forever to respawn in this game, and it's annoying sitting there looking at the little orange outline of the guy that killed you, and you're sitting there for like 5 minutes like, oh my god, like let me spawn. So that could be sped up as well. That's it for my Battlefield 1 wish list. If you guys are wishing for something and you didn't hear it here, put it in the comment section down below. Hit the like button if you agreed with anything you heard here. Let me know what you think of anything you heard in my wish list in the comment section down below as well. Hit that subscribe button. We're going to be doing a lot of other kind of weird videos in the weeks to come. I want to do an Assassin's Creed video, I want to do an Uncharted 4 video, and I want to do a Destiny video. So those are all probably going to happen at some point, but like it happened with the Battlefield 4 gameplay, it might take a little while, but we're going to be doing more Call of Duty content coming up soon. Thanks a lot for watching, guys, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Is today Thursday? Today's Thursday. I'll see you guys tomorrow.